Hello and welcome everyone to Teslanomics Live. I'm your host Ben Sullins, and this is the show where we break down the latest Tesla news from the week that has passed. And we do it live because, as you do know, things change quickly in the world of Tesla and Elon Musk. And so today is no exception. We have a lot to cover. We'll get through all the stories, and then we'll have a big Q&A section at the end. The Q&A is hosted on Crowdcast, but it is broadcast here on YouTube as well. If you'd like to be a part of that conversation, all you got to do is go to teslanomics.co/join, get on our email list, and we'll send you an invite the day of and a few hours before the show, so you can hop in there and get any questions answered that you please. All right, well, you may have a clue based on the title today what the lead story is, but we'll just jump right into it here. The first is that, well, Elon and the SEC have settled. If you, we'll go through the backstory here, but the SEC was suing Elon for fraud, and he had a deal, backed out of the deal, and then finally made a new deal Saturday night. So the SEC suit was originally seeking to bar Elon from serving as an officer or director of any publicly traded company if found guilty. And that's a pretty big deal. Now, that would have affected Tesla, but not SpaceX. He would have still been able to operate as the CEO, chairman of the board, everything at SpaceX, because they are private. And this, of course, relates to his tweet back in August, where he said, "I'm considering taking Tesla private at $420, funding secured," which rumored was part of a joke or something to impress his girlfriend at the time. So, and who knows if they're still together? That might be an interesting follow-up. So they had actually planned a lawsuit prior to this deal that would have really hurt Tesla, and thankfully, and Elon had said that he was going to fight it, and he wasn't gonna take the deal originally because he would have had to admit wrongdoing. But Saturday, they finally came to an agreement after the SEC formally charged him, and this new deal says that he must step down as Tesla's chairman, and I'll explain what that means in a second. And they need to appoint two independent directors to the board, and they collectively need to pay $40 million in penalties. So that's $20 million from Elon and $20 million from Tesla. So this is some big news, but I think it's a positive one. But let's just jump back a little bit here and talk about how these things got to where they are. And actually, before we do that, one of the things about the deal that I think is super interesting, and I'm looking at the actual deal here, the settlement from the SEC, the actual document. I'll put links to the description or in the description for this. It says, Elon must comply with all mandatory procedures implemented by Tesla regarding the oversight of communications relating to the company made in any format, including but not limited to posts on social media, e.g. Twitter, the company's website, the company's blog, press releases, and investor calls. The pre-approval of any such written communications that contain or reasonably could contain information material to the company or its shareholders. So Elon is going to be on a bit of a leash now. He's going to have an actual person. I assume this will be some kind of lawyer, probably a securities lawyer, that they'll have to appoint to actually monitor any statements he wants to make in any of these places, basically anywhere, prior to him actually making them. I think that's a good thing. I really do, because while Elon is free to be who he wants to be, and obviously the things he's achieved in life, don't grant many people any control over him. The severity at which the outsized impact any comments he makes can really hurt the company, and that I think is why he actually kind of came back and made this deal, is because he realized that of all the possible outcomes, that this one would be the best. Of course, you could fight it potentially and all this stuff. And in fact, he was gearing up for a fight with the SEC, and he hired the same lawyers that represented Mark Cuban previously when he was sued by the SEC for insider trading. Then he reversed course Saturday, and that's when this settlement came out. Now, the stock nosedived about 14% when the lawsuit was first announced, but as of today, you can see it's it's pretty much back where it was. A little up and down, a little gyrations, but and of course the markets overall are up today because of the new NAFTA, whatever they're calling it, USMCA. So great news in terms of like the outcome of this whole thing. Now, there's some more weirdness going on here, though. Tesla originally thought that they were going to be sued as well, and that still may happen. So this story may not be entirely over. But as of right now, it was only Elon that was charged, and so that was kind of nice. Now, there is some more going on here, but the context of it, if you ever forgot, was that he had a deal, it fell apart, and part of that, the reason it fell apart is because he felt like he actually legitimately had a deal with the Saudis for the Tesla buyout, and he stated this publicly on a blog, and they obviously disagreed. They thought he was lying about that. So it's really questionable as to what was true, what wasn't, but at this point it is officially settled and we can move forward, which is fantastic. And also for the shareholders, that any of you guys who were long on this bought when it was down 14-15%, that's a buy low, sell high. Good for you. And I wanted to just recap kind of the difference between these two roles, because it's important to understand these. So here I have a little slide deck I put together. So on one hand, you have the CEO, and the CEO leads the company. Now, the way I think of it, and this is common, is the CEO is the face of the company. And so Elon, there couldn't be another face of Tesla that isn't Elon. It just wouldn't be possible. Even if he didn't officially work there, he would be, every interview would be asking about it and talking about it and stuff like that. So he'd still be super involved. So the CEO is often the face of the company. They lead it. And then you often have a COO, a chief operating officer, that runs the company. And the best example in the world that I think is a fantastic duo here is Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg. Mark Zuckerberg, he's matured in an incredible way, and I believe is an incredible CEO now. 5 years ago, that wasn't the case, and he had no business running a company that big. Certainly wasn't qualified, certainly just not even his character or any of those things. In comes Sheryl Sandberg, a grown-up that understands how to do this, and she takes it and just, Facebook completely blows all Wall Street expectations out of the water quarter after quarter, and just dominates. So you look at that and you go, why doesn't Elon have that? Why don't they have a strong COO to do this and let Elon just be the face of the company, be the innovator, the dreamer, the guy that's really pushing the bar forward? Now, one specific task that the CEO has is that he or she can hire and fire other executives. They are in charge of all of the executives. They all report into the CEO. Now, the chairman is the one that guides the board. So the CEO is generally accountable to the board of directors. This is the group of people representing the interests that own the company, that actually have equity in the company and own all of the assets. So the chairman is the leader of that group. They guide the board. So imagine if you did want to, say, take the company private, the chairman of the board is the one that would probably be leading that effort and figuring out how to do it, and et cetera. And so that's what the chairman's role is. So the chairman's role is not so much about, hey, what products are we going to build? How are we going to go to market? Do we need to do a layoff? Those kind of things. The board, the chairman of the board is more like looking at, are we going to sell the company kind of thing, like much bigger picture things. And this person has the ability to actually hire and fire the CEO. So now that Elon is out as chairman, or I think he has 45 days until he officially has to be out, the board assumingly could fire him if that made sense. Now it doesn't, and so I seriously doubt that's going to happen, but that is kind of the distinction here. Now, Elon and many other founders of companies will often serve as both roles because they're the largest equity holder, largest shareholder, and they're the ones that founded it, so they run it. So it's not uncommon for this to be the same person, but that's kind of the distinction between those roles, if you're not familiar at all with kind of corporate structure here. And just a little quip from the research on this, it says, that while the CEO CEO can overrule decisions made by other executives, and the board can overrule the CEO's decisions. So this is where it becomes really interesting. The chairman of the board can't overrule either the CEO or the board. The key difference is based on the role of each leader. The CEO has authority over other executives based on their clear leadership hierarchy. Other executives don't select a CEO from among their ranks. A chairman of the board does not have the authority over other board members because she is a peer to them. The board of directors selects a chairman from amongst its members. So it's not like, hey, we're all C-level folks at Tesla and you become the CEO and we just appointed you that. Whereas on the board, that is how it works. So little nuances there about how that. So I'm curious what you guys think about that. I think he made the right decision to settle here. I think it's something that, we all should be very thankful for, because it is definitely an act of humility. They agreed to not admit wrongdoing, and that was important because, us male figures, we all have our big egos, and we need to have that little feather in our cap that we never, admitted wrongdoing. But it's one of those things where, all of this is just super terrestrial kind of nonsense. And I think that Elon sees that, and, whatever the case may be, we need to move forward. And it's awesome because we are moving forward into a pretty spectacular thing. So with regard to that, Electrek reported that Tesla actually achieved Model 3 production goals for the record quarter within 2 days still to go. So this was basically saying that they achieved the 5,000 Model 3s in a week for the first time since July, since the July production sprint. And the question is whether or not this is the beginning of a sustained level of 5,000 vehicles, 5,000 Model 3s per week, and close to 2,000 Model S and X. That would be huge. So the report is saying that they've produced more than 51,000 Model 3s in Q3, which just ended a few hours, just about 12 hours ago. So Elon taking the step to allow the company to move forward, I think looking at these numbers and obviously him knowing these stats, we're all kind of, it's like the last straw for the shorts, right? After Tesla becomes profitable and starts to achieve this en masse, it's game over for the other automakers. It really is. Tesla's already outselling BMW and a lot of other passenger vehicles here in the United States. And so, Toyota and Honda are next. It's one of those things where all the shorts are just going to lose all their money and all their clients' money, and that's unfortunate. But when you're betting against Elon Musk, that's a huge risk that you take. So this is what Electrek's stating, and then when you go over to the Tesla Model 3 tracker from Bloomberg, you get quite a different story here. This $1,899 per week. And if you recall how this works, they have these kind of see the problem I have with this. Let me see if I can zoom in for you, make it easier to read. The problem I have with these forecasts is that they rely on historicals a lot. So what happens is if you have a dip for whatever reason, that dip will kind of persist over time. And I think we've seen that back and forth here where these things dip down, but really I think that's just a vibration from the historical. So the question is, what model is right? All of these models and things without any official word from Tesla are just predictions, right? Yes, they're using some solid logic and some math to figure it out. But, until we have official numbers, we're not going to know exactly what the case is. So I'm hoping for big Q3, we should get an update letter tomorrow. Usually it's on the second day after the quarter ends, which would be tomorrow. I was hoping maybe we could get it today, but it doesn't look like it's out yet. So, I'm sure you'll hear tons of news articles and all that stuff immediately following that. And there is a link. If you go to ir.tesla.com, you can actually sign up to get notified of these things. I did it, so then anytime they put out any official statements, it just, it shows up in my email inbox. So, of course, we'll talk about it next week once we have some more official numbers. So fascinating stuff. If they're profitable in Q3, I think that's game over for all the shorts, and a lot. I think the stock is just gonna go up, and then from then on out, just don't screw it up. Like, keep going. Elon, of course, always like to push it to go, an order of magnitude each time. I really hope that they could get a COO. I would love for them to hire somebody that is a veteran in this space that can kind of do the operational stuff and really focus on that and helping the company be more stable. Meanwhile, Elon can focus on the visionary kind of external facing stuff. So that's my thoughts on that. I'd love to know what you guys think. And yeah, fingers crossed we're all in for a big quarter here. All right, next is a funny story that I'm kind of mixed on. This is that Tesla is apparently enlisting employees to be full self-driving beta testers. And the points here are that Elon asked employees to volunteer to be beta testers for full self-driving, offering $13,000 of incentives in exchange. Free full self-driving, which is $8,000, and free premium interior, which is $5,000 on a new Tesla, in exchange for 300 to 400 hours of detailed feedback on autopilot, that's a lot. They're looking for 1 to 200 employees reportedly, and part of this is the upgrade to version 9, which is the firmware, which is where they're reportedly starting to officially transition from just enhanced autopilot to full self-driving. So you've seen it on Electrek, on Bloomberg, and we even have a little clip here of the navigation on version 9, which apparently is going to be a lot better. Let's just have a little view of this. You can see it's just much more advanced. And what it's trying to do, I believe, here is find lanes for you. Like, it'll actually do the lane change and everything for you. So it's not something that it'll actually figure that out. It's on-ramp to off-ramp. It's supposed to go around cars as it recognizes people that are slower, and just be a lot smarter. So here's the shot of the navigation running in version 9. I'm excited for this. I really think this is going to be cool, but we're probably going to see a lot more accidents in the short term as they try to figure this out. So it's a question. And so if you don't recall, Tesla has stated that back in October of 2016, all Tesla cars being produced now have full self-driving hardware. And that includes, of course, the Model 3, which was just barely in its infancy back in that day. Actually, I don't even think we had any official Model 3s being produced yet. So they're stating that all the cars since October of 2016 have the full self-driving hardware, and we're seeing that roll out with the examples like this one here. And then along with this story, an interesting development is that one of Tesla's biggest bulls, one of their biggest fans, is saying that Tesla's actually going to have to refund people because they're not going to be able to do it. And so this is from Gene Munster, who is a managing partner at the VC firm Loop Ventures, and one of the people that's generally very, very big on Tesla. He's a bull. He's saying that they won't be able to do it. He doesn't think they will be able to fulfill this promise that all vehicles sold since 2016 will be able to support full self-driving technology. So Elon and people and the team have talked about this on the last earnings call as well, where they had said, they actually brought the autopilot team on, and they had said that it may require an update to the MCU, the control unit there, kind of like the CPU of the car. So the question is, so if you bought the full self-driving, then they said that they'll swap that out for you for free. But if not, you're going to have to pay for the upgrade. The question is, how much is that upgrade? And this assumes you even want to do it. I'll probably wait till they work out a few versions of this before I start to try it. But, so Gene saying that is kind of weird. But in any event, it sounds like they're making progress here. I'm still of the mind that we're 10 plus years out before we have true full self-driving vehicles where I can literally get in the back seat and go to sleep and have zero worries about it. And Elon, I think, talked about this before. He said, so how many... how much does it take, right? Let's say 1 in 100, 90% success rate. 1 in 100 times it fails. That's pretty bad, right? 90% sounds like a high percentage, but 1 out of 100, not good. Or 99% rate is not good. Not now if it's 1 out of 1,000 Okay, 1 out of 10,000. Okay, maybe we're at a point 99.999% before we're actually comfortable with this technology. So I don't think even if the technical stuff works, we'll be able to get there in any short amount of time. I think we're at least 10 years away. And those are my thoughts on it. I've talked to a lot of people about it. Curious what you guys think about it. Let me know in the comments down below. Now, along with this version 9, we have some other cool stuff. And one feature I'm a fan of is that the Tesla dash cam is apparently coming out. And here's a video of the Tesla dash cam. And you can kind of see this is real footage apparently from version 9 with the dash cam built in. Now, some of the caveats I believe is that the dash cam will only be working when the car is on. So it won't be working when the car is powered off. And I understand why. But if someone's trying to break into my car or somebody hits my car, that's, that could also very well happen when I'm not in it, when it's not on. So I am a little iffy on this concept here. I imagine the power necessary to run these would be pretty low in conjunction or in comparison to, the ginormous battery built into the car. Yeah, the camera looks good, and I'm thankful for this, but I'm a little iffy on the execution and the details of it. So as this comes out, we'll have a look at this and talk more about it, because I'm super excited about it, but I do want it to be running when the car is off. Otherwise, I think they're missing the boat. But hopefully that'd be something that, again, you could just do kind of with the software update. So version 9 is coming. I haven't got it yet. None of my friends have. I don't know when we'll get it. Hopefully sometime soon. Hopefully it'll be quicker here than the latter. I've heard of people saying that they're going to do a mass push and just release it to everyone all at once, which sounds like fake news to me, because it doesn't really make sense that you would want to do that and risk, bricking everyone's car, or, essentially having a mass error, a mass bug. And the fact that people are already beta testing it, lends well to that. By the way, if anyone at Tesla's listening and wants to put me in the beta program, I would be happy to do that, because I think it'd be really interesting. Now, there's some more stuff when it comes to Q3 and deliveries. One of them is that Tesla is reportedly making their own car carriers. Elon tweeted about this, that there weren't enough car carriers to actually deliver the cars, and so they started building our own car carriers this weekend to alleviate load. I don't understand what's going on with this. Yeah, okay, so they're into solving problems, and of course the game of whack-a-mole continues. If you remember my analogy from before, you focus on one thing and then another thing pops up. The only way to alleviate all of that is to actually focus on everything as a system and not just one thing versus the next. So reportedly they're making their own car carriers here because that was a problem. I don't know why you would do that. It seems like something not worth doing, considering all the other problems and all the other stuff you're trying to focus on already. So yeah, okay. And with related to that, do we have any images of it? I thought somebody posted an image of what that would look like. Did Tesla already do it? Yeah, I guess we don't have any image. If you guys have one, I'd be very curious of that. But with the concept here of the Q3 push, owners are being invited, and maybe some of you actually went and helped deliver. And people are posting this all over the place. This was in response to Ryan's tweet, and then Elon setting it up. And there are lots of sign-up forms and things like that. So if you're an existing owner looking to do it, I believe they still may be looking for people. Like Q3 has ended, but they still have this main issue, and now we're in Q4, which is going to be an even bigger push, because if Q3 wasn't profitable, then Q4 has to be profitable. Otherwise, we're in a real tough situation. So let me know what you guys think about it. If you went and volunteered, hey, good for you. Thanks for helping out. I unfortunately haven't been able to, but go ahead and check online if you haven't heard of that, because you may still be able to help out. All right, now I'm going to head over to the Q&A, and the Q&A begins with Patreon, where anyone that donates $1 per month or more will get their questions answered first. You can learn more about that by going to patreon.com/Teslanomics. So hop over there now, and then we'll jump over to Crowdcast for the rest of the Q&A. Mel Bernstein asks, what will Elon's role in Tesla be now that he is no longer chairman of the board? He recently promoted one of his executives to management for manufacturing. Yeah, that was Guillermo, I think. Disappointed to see the SEC has forced him to take one step down, but it would have been devastation had he been required to leave the company. I agree with you, Mel. I think that it's as best, as good of a situation as could be, considering. And so, I kind of covered it before. Now he'll still be able to do the CEO thing, run the company, work with the executives, make stuff happen. I really hope that he hires a COO, because I think that would be really beneficial to the company. And the board, they're going to have to hire 2 independent directors, so it'll be more mixed. This may change how he goes about what he does, but I'm not 100% that it's a bad thing. I think having some diversity there and having some different opinions could be healthy. So we'll have to see. Obviously, this, I think, of all the things, is a decent solution, and it wasn't, certainly. I agree with you that him leaving the company would have been terrible. It would have been really bad, not only for Tesla but for the whole EV movement. So there you have it. All right, now let's head over to Crowdcast. And the first question comes from Vic. Vic said, when I got my P3D 6 weeks ago, 80% charge gave me 248 miles. Now 80% charge gives me 237 miles. Should I be concerned? I wouldn't. I would try taking it down close to 0 and bringing it back up to 100% right away. There's some weirdness with the software on here, and so the calibration of that might just be off. I've noticed mine do the same thing, where it'll be 250 and then next time 275. So it varies wildly. The Model 3 is still very early in its development, and by that I mean mostly the software side of it. People with the Model S and X, these things just don't happen nearly as much. My 2013 Model S has about 3 miles of that 80% less than it did when it was first made. So yeah, certainly the Model 3 I think is still fluctuating a lot. I see the same thing, but then it'll go back up. So I wouldn't be concerned now. And obviously if there were any issues, Tesla would fix it for you, because you're still within the first 8 years, as are every Tesla owner when it regards to the battery. So there you have it. I wouldn't worry too much. Maybe try rebalancing if you can. Next, Art asks a question. After hitting a peak of almost 6,000 Model 3 production per week, production according to Bloomberg has dropped dramatically for the past several weeks, barely to 2,000. Any explanation? It's past the time that Tesla should know how to run a production line. Yeah, no doubt. And also, without official numbers, you don't put much faith into that 2,000 there. Just because it's Bloomberg doesn't mean they're right. Really, all these things are subject to human error, and of course, we're guessing at a lot of stuff. Sure, there's logic behind it. I'm not dissing what they've created, but they don't know more than anyone else knows. They've applied one set of rules to come up with this estimate. So we'll see. Probably the leaks from employees, officially telling the media what the numbers are, it should be accounted for here as well, right? I don't know why they're not. So it's one of those things. No statistical model that's making a prediction is perfect, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. We'll see what the real numbers are like at the end of the quarter, or when we get that update letter, hopefully within 24 hours from now. Thanks for the question and joining us, Art. Bobby G asks, the glass top on my roof fractured this week into the shape of a Tesla T after going into Model 3 Club site. I see this seems to be a common problem. Do they have a long-term fix for this, or is it a systemic problem? Yeah, I don't know when you got yours, but yeah, that happened to me early on as well. I did a video on it. It's just something to do with the one of the parts wasn't installed properly or something. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a systemic problem, but certainly there are a large number of them that have had this. So I haven't had any issues after I got mine fixed, so I hope you don't either. Thanks, Bobby. Pete asks, when charging to 100%, how long can you wait before driving as not to damage the batteries? You should be able to go right away. It'll actually limit you if you do it. As soon as you start driving, so one of the things I mean by that is the regenerative braking is limited after you're at 100%, because it doesn't have anywhere to put the extra regen energy. So you'll notice a difference when you charge 100%. But yeah, you can go right away. Thanos asks, who do you think will be chairman? I don't know. Hopefully a woman. Hopefully someone with a different opinion and different background than the current group. Walt asks, what do you think is the viability of Tesla being able to keep up with the repairs, such as Model 3 sales increase and 3 becomes more cars in the fleet? Yeah, it's a problem, clearly. And they've talked about doubling their sales staff. I think they need to probably quadruple it. These cars have issues, especially how fast they rushed them out, especially the older ones. You know, the later you get your Model 3, the better you are. So, yeah, they're doing it. I think it'll be growing pain. Again, I think it comes to the lack of a good COO that understands the concept behind systems thinking, looking at all of these things as one unit, not as a, oh shit, let's make a bunch of cars. Oh crap! Now we have to deliver them. Let's make some car carriers. Let's hire delivery staff. Let's do some stuff. Oh shit! Now we have to service them. Okay, let's hire. Let's all these things are you can just tell that the company is not run by somebody that understands this stuff and thinks about it holistically. It's a very much and it's not necessarily a knock on Elon, but like this is just how most companies run. And so I would highly advocate for a COO that is a systems thinker to help solve these things. So next time we have this show with the Model Y, probably they're already solved, right? Because the problems will always continue to grow and evolve every time you do something new, and Tesla is on the forefront of doing new things. So I think it's one of those things that the mindset about how to move forward needs to shift from the current game of whack-a-mole that they kind of play, because I think it's unhealthy and just inefficient. Thanks, Walt. Lon asks, when will Tesla surpass Nissan as the producer of the most EVs? So, yeah, Nissan had a big head start here, but I don't know what their number was at. I mean, Tesla's officially delivered over 200,000. I think Nissan's was over 300,000. I don't know, probably a couple months, honestly, as sales of the Nissan Leaf die due to the Tesla Model 3. So, yeah, we'll see. But who cares, really? It's all good. I hope Nissan makes a lot more EVs, longer range, more higher quality ones that are more mass market. So, yeah, I'm all for it. Go Nissan. Tom asks, we need to install a charger on our vacation home. I have a M3D, the dual motor, I assume, and my brother has a Bolt. Good. What J1772 type chargers are good enough to hold up long term and charge at decent rate, 240, 60 amp service? That's pretty good. I actually don't have an answer for you there. There are plenty of them online. I think. Oh man, well, there's one from the UK that I know Robert did a video on. I can't tell you a specific one, but any of the J1772 type chargers will work for both cars. So yeah, I would just install one that works for both. You could do just an outlet, but I don't know if the Bolt comes with its own adapter for that. By the way, Tesla does offer tons of different kinds of adapters on their website. They're not cheap, but if you have a certain kind of thing right now, you may already be able to use that. Like your dryer outlet might be able to function as this. You just need the right kind of plug. So, maybe check there first if you're thinking about cost effectiveness with the vacation home. So, yeah, and hey, good on you for setting that up. Russ asks, this is the reply I got back from Tesla on the Model 3 key fob. We have not started making those yet. I'm sure they will be available for purchase at a later date. That person just doesn't know what they're talking about. Hoping they're coming soon, but I don't believe they're for purchase. Thanks, Russ. Michael, any news or rumors about the European Model 3 deliveries? I believe, isn't there an auto show? Deliveries? No, not until next year for sure. But isn't there an auto show coming up very soon in Europe that they're bringing the Model 3 to? Yeah, I think it's coming. And then I think right-hand drive is probably second half of next year. So it's still quite a ways away for the folks that drive on the wrong side of the road. So thanks for the question. Tony asks, with the computer screen in all Teslas, do you have to manage the internal temperature of the car in hot and cold weather, or does the car automatically do this? Okay, with the computer screen. So are you talking about the screen itself, or are you talking about the car? The car's AC has a auto function, so you can set it to whatever temperature you like, and it'll keep it on that. And so in regards to the screen, yeah, it has to do it on its own. There's no way to adjust something with the screen. I have noticed before though that when the car gets very low on energy, the screen lumosity, like the brightness of it, tends to dim dramatically. So yeah, maybe that's part of it. Thanks for the question, Tony. Edward asks, new Model 3 on an autopilot climbing a hill that has trees on the other side of the slope. The leaved branches overhanging the road, the fall colors coming down, light breeze, like your description there. Will detect those branches and slow the car down? Is this normal? I don't know. Hills are tough for autonomous vehicles because you can't. I mean, it's the same as a regular person. You can't see what's on the other side of it. But if you've driven that hill before, you know. So there's kind of that context in it. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. The cars are, and this is again, people tend to have blind faith with this stuff, and so I would just recommend having a good amount of skepticism when it comes to all of these things. So, thanks for the question, Edward. Russell asks, "Yep, is this perhaps a moment of reflection, given recent events, on how to simultaneously make the best of Elon's mercurial talents and those of his team at Tesla, who are clearly very capable? Perhaps experienced non-exec advisors like myself could help Elon and the company with the task ahead to recover investor and customer confidence without losing the innovative and disruptive." So, I mean, I guess I'd put the question back on you, Russell. Do you think that investors and customers have lost confidence in Tesla? To me, the people I know that are Tesla owners see this as like a distraction and don't care. If anything, it seems to be that a lot of people don't understand how a tweet like that could have such a huge ramification. And investors, I guess they all have their own thing in mind. Generally, I'm not a fan of people that believe in the markets or not to say I'm not a fan of the people, but the markets in general, I think, are fickle and short-sighted. And I believe most people that really are long on Tesla think that it's a greater mission. So I guess I would question whether or not consumers have actually lost confidence, because I'm not seeing that. Maybe they have, but yeah, in regards to advisors and stuff, yeah, certainly that would be helpful. I am not interested in doing that, but somebody that is maybe more in the auto space would be really helpful. Somebody that could help navigate these waters a bit. Obviously, Tesla does things differently, and so that they'll always have to keep that in mind. But there's definitely some people out there, I'm sure, that would love to be the COO or whatever kind of talent or help they need to figure this stuff out. So. Yeah, thanks for the question. It's kind of interesting discussion. Phil asks, I'm about 3 hours from a service station. How does Tesla decide on a service station build as there are increased deliveries? Well, the thing to keep in mind, Phil, is that a lot of what Tesla is focusing on are the mobile service centers or the mobile service technicians. And so being 3 hours away, I don't know if that's a big thing there. But, I assume that they would have some kind of planning where they would look at where all the cars are, I'm sure. And even if you go into the factory, they have a map of showing like, hey, here's where all people are driving and stuff. So, I'm sure that goes into account, but then there's the whole logistics behind it. I'm sure there's a team in a department that has a strategy here. So I don't know. But, the thing to remember is that 80% or so of the issues that may come up can be fixed locally, at your house. And I personally have had that happen a few times. So it's actually pretty awesome. So I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Phil. Eric asks, I've read Waymo is using remote control via command centers to help their self-driving cars get out of a jam when operating without a driver. That sounds like cheating. You can't call it autonomous when there's just not a person in there and it's remote controlled. Do you know if Tesla has similar plans? I don't believe so. I think Tesla, this is why... Elon, man, talk about promising the moon. When he said that, I think November, December of last year, the Model 3 would be able to drive, or I don't know if he specified a Model 3, but Tesla would be able to drive from LA to New York without a person having to touch the wheel. And then he came back and explained, yeah, we could hard code it. But to actually pull that off with all the different kind of weather conditions and in different road conditions and how to handle construction or accidents on the road. I mean, if you think about it, if you're driving across country you will likely at some point come across some sort of accident or something on the road, an elk, whatever, that the car has never seen before. And for it to be able to make the correct decision and still navigate you, like let's say you had to drive on the shoulder down in a dip, maybe even through the dirt, and get back on the road. It's just not possible right now. The cars just aren't that advanced, or I've not seen any of that. So Waymo using remote, I mean, maybe that's a strategy, because the idea, the way these things work is you have to train the cars or the models on how to do this. And so I guess that's one way to do it. I wouldn't really call it self-driving, though, if you have a person there. Yeah, interesting. Thanks. Mark asks, scale of 1 to 11, how cool is version 9? I wouldn't know, Mark. Thanks for the question, though, and bringing up that you have it and you have access to it. Yeah, dash cam I'm excited about. Probably that's the most the thing I'm mostly excited about. Autopilot, I don't really care because I don't even have it on my Model S, and my wife drives the car, and we rarely use autopilot, so to us it's probably unnoticeable. Like, we won't really notice a difference at all. What are the other big features? Maybe the summon feature being better and those kind of things. Oh, the navigation moving over to the left, I think, is a big one. I want to see that, but yeah, I'm excited. But until I have it, I guess I can't really answer that question. And thanks for rubbing it in my face there. Ali asks, any word on Michigan service centers or the legalities of Tesla selling here? I was not allowed to finance through Tesla, and now I need to get my car serviced, and it is quite ridiculous here. We have nothing. That sucks. I don't know, but there was a lawsuit a while ago that Tesla filed, and then I believe that a judge forced whoever the lobbying party was, dealership association or somebody like that, that they had to provide Tesla, or was it Public or Tesla, with all of the emails back and forth about the case, which then likely were going to prove kind of collusion or fraudulent behavior. And so the case, I think, was going to get dropped and then possibly open it up. So you can go. It's been a while since we've heard anything about that, but and I probably got some of those facts terribly wrong. But you can probably go find some details on that, and I don't know where it's at now, but you could get the case number and kind of look it up, maybe ask a state congressman or whomever. So yeah, I hope things turn around for you there, Ali. Mary asks, Tesla Model 3 key fob, showroom staff insisted there was no such thing. Yeah, nonsense. It's such a mixed bag of who you get at Tesla and what they know, so not surprising. Osman asks, are there any non-Chinese auto manufacturers who are manufacturing their own batteries? Or are they all sourcing from third parties? Do you think that GM, VW, Nissan will ultimately invest in battery factories? Well, I mean, technically, Tesla's not manufacturing the batteries. They're getting them from Panasonic, and now they are putting them together into the battery modules and packs, but the actual individual cells are being manufactured by someone else. So I don't know. The key point I think that you're trying to make here is that everyone else that's trying to make electric cars is struggling, very much so from the German side of the auto industry. And the big reason is because they don't have the battery tech. I would not be surprised at all if you start to see Tesla become the battery provider of EV batteries for other manufacturers. I think that would be a great model if I were one of them and wanting to build something like that. So anyways, thanks for the question. I'll do one more check. Oh, we got a couple here with some more votes. Let me just close that out, bring it back up. All right. Michael asks, anyone other than the first testers received version 9? Don't know. We'll go a couple more. What do you think of Elon tweeting about the music video OPP? I didn't see that, so don't know. I have 75D and I heard the battery is really 85, and for a nominal fee, the range can be increased. Anything on this rumor? Call your service center. They would know. If it isn't 85, is that right? I forget. Yeah, someone did research on this a while ago, but yeah, call your service center and they should be able to figure it out. Okay. Thank you all for joining me yet again here on the interwebs and making sense what's going on in this world of electric cars and our transition to sustainable energy. If you want to get invited to the next week's show, make sure to get on our email list, teslanomics.co/join. It's free, and we'll send you an invite. And until then, don't forget, when you free the data, your mind will follow. I'll see you guys back here next time.